We'll discuss the situation in Ukraine on the 23rd of November of 2023. Today we have a lot of very interesting updates. So let's start first. We're going to talk about home direction. The Russians are saying that as a result of clashes on this area, they lost 70 soldiers and 5 armed vehicles. The language of losses when talking about this direction is heavy, and the main clashes are taking place in the villages like Kand as a result of Russian bombardments of the cities like Berezkazazy, Targa, Ivoe Mikol, and so on. But anyway, the main clashes are taking place in Kinki. The Russians continue their offensive and storming operation of this territory, but the Russians are trying to act very slow. And they're not trying to risk they don't want to risk, because as I understand, the Russians took a decision to use the tactics of blockade. They understand that the Ukrainians have limitations in their support and supply, and the only possible solution how the Ukrainians can get ammo, weapon, medicine, and many other important things for a normal defense can come just from the Ukrainian bank of the river, and for this purposes the Ukrainians need to create logistic. Only transport equipment they can use is just the regular boats, and the Russians understand if they are able to destroy the boats, if the Russians are able to establish fire drone, any type of control over the Dnieper River, then the Ukrainians basically will starve and die on the Russian bank of the river. There are going to be no chances for them, and from one side, of course, these tactics need some time to establish blade. This is the first thing. The second thing is that blade is something that should be counter-blockade. Let's say in the morning and there is no blade during the night period of time, and when talking about the previous months, previous days, clashes for Kinki, the Russians didn't have such possibilities like establishing blockades and fire control over the Dnieper River during the night period of time. But recently we've discussed that the Russians have improved their FPV drones, their land drones with night vision equipment. And now there are no barriers and problems for the Russians to destroy everything that goes along near river with FPV, with any type of drone strikes. Not just drone strikes, but also with more missiles. For example, on this video, we'd see the Ukrainians who were moving from one building to another in Kinki. The Russians discovered these positions. They're sent COSI coordinate